starting. Good morning, class. Good morning. So, welcome to this lesson. We are going to learn today about planking and strutting. But before that, I would like to take a roll call for the attendance present. So, I will pass to you this attendance register, and you will sign your name and your signature. Then after this, let's do some recap of the previous lesson. During the previous lesson, we learned about excavation. Who can tell me what excavation is? Or what a foundation trench is basically? Because we were learning about excavating a foundation trench. Any try? Yes.
Excavation is the process of removing the topsoil to create a room for construction purposes.
Yes, it's a process of removing the topsoil to create a room for the construction purposes. But now when we're talking in terms of the foundation trench, we are talking about that act of removing the soil from the trench. After you have set out the structure and you have marked the structure, then you are going to excavate that soil. Another tribe. Your voice?
Excavation.
Yes, that's a trial. So excavating is the process of removing the topsoil. Now after we have done the excavation, sometimes remember that when you have gone to the soil, taking for example, this was your ground, and you've done the excavation or you have excavated the trench. After you have excavated this trench, you realize that you are going to have different types of soils, right? And the type of soil you can encounter in a set is loam soil, clay soil, sand soil. Yes? Rocky soil, right? So when you have this type of soils, they don't behave the same way. They behave differently. So for example, like when you are dealing with the sand, it's not the same as when you're dealing with clay. You know that very well. When you're dealing with rocky soil, it's not the same as when you're dealing with maybe black cotton. They behave differently. And when they behave differently, now we have to do planking and strutting. Now this technique or this act which we do to this word is called planking and strutting. But okay, now tell us what planking and strutting mean in the maybe the simplest way. To try to tell me what planking now is, we have talked about excavating say a trench, and you are encountering different types of soils. But they behave differently. You know that very well. For example, if you are excavating, leave alone a trench, if you are excavating a pit, somebody excavating in a rocky soil might experience some difficulties, maybe as compared to excavating in a clay soil. The same thing happens when you're excavating in a black cotton or sand soil. You don't excavate in the same pace. Some people may find difficulties. Maybe ulikuwa unachimba alafu ule mchanga ukaporomoka tena, right? So from now that scenario, can someone try and tell us what planking and strutting mean? Yes, talk loud. Yes.
Supporting the sites of
all this. But there are some learning outcomes which you have to know. First is define planking and structure. After this, he has given us a definition, but we are still going to get a more correct or more modified definition. The definition is correct, but still I'm going to get a modified. Then the next learning outcome will be to state materials used to planking and structuring and excavation. Then the next will be explain the criteria for planking and structuring as per such conditions. So to start, he has told us that planking and structuring is the act of supporting the science of the trench. Now, I'll say this. It is true. Planking and structuring is that act. Taking, for example, that this is your site, and this is your site. This is your excavation. Let's say that maybe you are excavating for a depth of say 1.5 meters. When you excavate for 1.5 meters, the size of this soil sometimes it can be loose. Maybe because of water present in that soil. Maybe you have moisture present in that soil. And you know that soil behaves differently when it has got moisture, right? Because soil is existing in layers. We talk about layers of soil. These layers can slide over each other when the soil is moist, therefore leading to the collapse of the stretch. Therefore, to support that science, we are going to do planking and structuring. And by definition, planking and structuring can be defined as the act or support given to the science of excavation. So, for example, I'll give a very perfect example. You've gone in an area whereby they are constructing like a road on a highway in a hidden region. Kama kwa mlima hivi, wanatengeneza kama ni barabara hivi, kama ni culverts. Do you see them laying some structures, taking for example, this is your formation level, and this is a hill. You see them putting some vertical and horizontal members, then upon this, they support until when the concrete is stable or when it's dry, then they can remove these supports. Now this is going to be an example of planking, and this is how we do it. You can have these vertical members. You can have them running throughout the entire trench. And now when you have this, remember that this can be, sometimes it can be sheet metal, or sometimes they can also be wooden. Wanachukua kama ni zile mbao, wanaziweka pamoja, zinapigiwa misumari na frames, alafu zinawekwa on the sides of the trench to support that slope of the trench against the collapse. Then to make sure that they are stable, we can use these horizontal members. Also remember that sometimes planking and strutting will be used synonymously with timbering. So from the term planking and strutting, sometimes you may find them using planking, strutting, or timbering. Therefore, this is how planking and strutting start. So that when you are going to the construction site and you are an engineer on site, you will do this. And one of the primary purpose of doing planting and strutting is, the first purpose or reason is safety. Think about this. People are inside here, they are working. Maybe your excavation has gone to depth of like, say, 5 meters. And people are working inside. And this swell collapses inside the trench. What do you think about the people working inside? They will be? They may die, okay? So to protect them, so let me say functions of planking and strutting. One will be safety of workers. Another function is attract. Function of planking and strutting. Yes? Protect your voice. Time. Yes, we are going to see some. Let's get with. Collapse. So you're saying there are some swells which can easily collapse. For example, when you're dealing with sand swell. Sand swell is defined to be cohesionless soil. When you say that the soil is cohesionless, it means that there's no cohesion. The particles of sand soil, they are not cross-reacted together. Therefore, it can easily collapse. So, we will do this to prevent structural collapse. And another function is that, remember, when you've done this excavation, you have paid people to do that job, right? You have paid the laborers to do that job. So when this soil now collapses again, and the soil now collapses to inside of the trench, I think you will need people to remove that soil again for the construction to continue, right? Needing them to do that work for the construction to continue, they will not do that for free. You will have to pay them again for the hours they work, right? So basically based on the cost, when you do planting and strutting, you will avoid some cost which you incur as a result of the collapse of the soil. So having learned about planting and strutting, we are going to now learn on now materials used for planting and strutting. Materials used for planting and strutting, as given an example of them is timber. You can take timber, you can nail it, join it together, then you can use it to support the sides of this trench. In the next lesson, you're going to demonstrate this. Also, we're going to do real excavation and also do planting and strutting. But for now, I want us to be in groups of, how many are we? Can we be in groups of 4? Then we discuss on the materials used for planting and strutting. So from this, here form the first group. Yes, form the first group. Here you form the second group, and here you form the third group. Are you left out? Yes, form the first group here. And the next will be soft tissue. And here, you can extend it to the distance. You can extend this point. So, we have join that group, join this group. So, we are discussing about materials used for planking and strutting. So, for every group, we are going to research on materials used for the planking and strutting, write the advantages of using that material compared to the other material. For example, when I am using timber, you realize that timber I am using just for some little amount of time, right? For example, you cannot use timber for long. You cannot use timber to support the science of excavation, maybe even for 3 years, because after some time, timber is likely to suffer some defect like warping, ile magnet nje. Napata kwamba to support haiwezi ikakuwa ni steel. So we cannot use that. Again, based on the cost, timber can be the most preferable material. Why? Because timber is cheap. For one thing, if you want to use timber for planking and strutting, you don't need so much amount of money to facilitate that. You just need to have timber, and then you have a carpenter to do that work, and you'll be good to go. But remember, when you're doing a huge amount of task, maybe of a big site, timber might not be appropriate. So, for you, discuss on timber, and you discuss on steel, right? Yes. And you discuss on sheet piling, right? Yes. So, it's getting what you have, and it should be a good discussion. It's not one man's forum. Sio kwamba huyu ndiye anaongea, huyu ongee. Let everybody participate. I would like to see the input of each and every one of you. Now, do this for timber as a strutting material. For example, he has one here. Remember, I told you that timbering sometimes can be used in place of planking and strutting. From this, you can see. Tell me some advantages. Why do you prefer timber? Yes, that's a good try. You're correct. Okay. Now tell that to the world. Because we're discussing as a and we're discussing about sheet piling. So discuss about sheet piling. Tell us the advantages of using the sheet piling. For one thing, sheet piling can be good. Why? Because sheet piling is free fabricated. Remember, when you do timbering, you are getting the timber either from the manufacturer. Alafu mtu unaziunganisha kwa sisi, lakini sheet piling iko intact. Unaweza pekee kundi so you are not doing it over again. And sheet piling is not important in terms of strength. It's more strong compared to timber. And this group you are discussing about some You are discussing about timber. Two, about steel. Group 3 is about sheet piling. So here you're discussing about sheet piling. Therefore, what you have to learn throughout. Also, you can tell me the function of these horizontal members which you are calling struts. Sometimes we can fix them when they are horizontally, but some other times we can fix them maybe taking this kind of shape. Sometimes we can support soil in this way. Sometimes, especially when it's talking about retaining walls. Retaining walls, the walls which we construct to retain or to hold to given volume of soil. You can still use this timbering and stretching for this retaining wall. So you can have them expressed this way or this way. Come on, be engaged. Ensure that the class list is circulating. Sign against your name and the date. Yes.
Timber is efficient in doing blanking in that in terms of disadvantages, it's this is
Yes. So for example, steel for this planking construction. Provided the steel is natural or there's much rust. So, for example, the steel this way. If you don't make a steel again tomorrow, you must clear on the first years. You have to set the budget on its after 1 month, how much is yours? Now attention to me. I know that you have discussed about timber, steel, quality. This is what we have covered for. Materials used for planning and constructing installation. The first we started by defining what planning and constructing is. The second we now talked about materials used for planning and constructing. So I believe that by now every one of you can now define what planning and constructing is. And also can state the materials. The materials, these are not the materials. Timber, steel, sheet quality. And now for this, I want to pose a question to you. Why do you think that planning and constructing is necessary in engineering work? Yes, if you want to answer the question, shut up when you tell us. Safety. Safety. Yes, for safety. And also when you plan constructing methods. Yes. Yes. Yes, stability of the soil. And not only in the soil, sometimes when you're dealing with